颠覆经典，独特奇案，我们没有。让耳朵来学英语，重拾你婴儿时的本能。事实上，这是令人惊讶且容易的方法。There are no shortcuts to learning English. Only down to earth and a lot of reading is the best way. But what if someone says I need first aid? Today, my sister, Anna and I will rescue the IELTS test takers. 对，今天我和姐姐 Daphne 来拯救雅思的考生。爸爸说他当年也是一只需要急救的烤鸭。
Even thinking about yawning can cause you to do it. It's something everybody does, including animals, and you shouldn't try to stifle it because when you yawn, it's because your body needs it. It's one of the most contagious, uncontrollable actions a body does. Keep reading to see what current research suggests yawning says about you, your brain temperature, and your potential for empathy.
我有一个小技巧，就是用暂停来仔细阅读每一段。雅思阅读第一篇打哈欠的本质。
Reading Passage 1, The Nature of Yawning. Paragraph A. While fatigue, drowsiness, or boredom easily bring on yawns, scientists are discovering there is more to yawning than most people think. Not much is known about why we yawn or if it serves any useful function. People have already learned that yawning can be infectious. Contagious yawning is the increase in likelihood that you will yawn after watching or hearing someone else yawn, but not much is known about the underlying causes, and very little research has been done on the subject. However, scientists at the University of Albany, as well as the University of Leeds and the University of London, have done some exploration.
This paragraph is about. Not much is known about why we yawn or if it serves any useful function. Contagious yawning is the increase in likelihood that you will yawn after watching or hearing someone else yawn. Scientists at the University of Albany, Leeds and London have done research on the subject. 这一段是关于我们打哈欠的原因和它是否有任何有用的功能，而我们知之甚少。传染性打哈欠是指您在看到或听到别人打哈欠后，打哈欠的可能性增加。奥尔巴尼大学、利兹大学和伦敦大学的科学家们对这一主题进行了相关研究。
Paragraph B. It is commonly believed that people yawn as a result of being sleepy or tired because they need oxygen. However, the latest research shows that a yawn can help cool the brain and help it work more effectively, which is quite different from the popular belief that yawning promotes sleep and is a sign of tiredness. Dr. Andrew Gallup and his colleagues at the University of Albany in New York State said their experiments on 44 students showed that raising or lowering oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in the blood did not produce that reaction. In the study, participants were shown videos of people laughing and yawning, and researchers counted how many times the volunteers responded to the contagious yawns. The researchers found that those who breathed through the nose rather than the mouth were less likely to yawn when watching a video of other people yawning. The same effect was found among those who held a cool pack to their forehead, whereas those who held a warm pack yawned while watching the video. Since yawning occurs when brain temperature rises, sending cool blood to the brain serves to maintain the best levels of mental efficiency.
This paragraph is about. New research shows that yawning can help cool the brain and help it work more effectively. Yawning occurs when brain temperature rises, sending cool blood to the brain. The study was carried out by Dr. Andrew Gallup and his colleagues at the University of Albany in New York State. 这一段是关于新的研究表明，打哈欠可以帮助大脑清醒，并帮助它更有效地工作。当大脑升温、感觉闷时，会发生打哈欠，来将较冷的血液输送到大脑。
Paragraph C. Yawning is universal to humans and many animals. Cats, dogs, and fish yawn just like humans do, but they yawn spontaneously. Only humans and chimpanzees, our closest relatives in the animal kingdom, have shown definite contagious yawning. Though much of yawning is due to suggestibility, sometimes people do not need to actually see a person yawn to involuntarily yawn themselves. Hearing someone yawning or even reading about yawning can cause the same reaction.
This paragraph is about yawning is universal to humans and many animals. Cats, dogs, and fish yawn just like humans do, but they yawn spontaneously. Though much of yawning is due to suggestibility, sometimes people do not need to actually see a person yawn to involuntarily yawn themselves. 段落 C 打哈欠是人类和许多动物的普遍现象。猫、狗和鱼都像人类一样打哈欠，但它们会自发地打哈欠。尽管大部分打哈欠是由于受到暗示，但有时人们并不需要真的看到一个人打哈欠，来诱导不由自主的打哈欠。
Paragraph D. However, contagious yawning goes beyond mere suggestibility. Recent studies show that contagious yawning is also related to our predisposition toward empathy, the ability to understand and connect with others' emotional states. So empathy is important, sure, but how could it possibly be related to contagious yawning? Leave it up to psychologists at Leeds University in England to answer that. In their study, researchers selected 40 psychology students and 40 engineering students. Generally, psychology students are more likely to feel empathy for others, while engineering students are thought to be concerned with objects and science. Each student was made to wait individually in a waiting room, along with an undercover assistant who yawned 10 times in as many minutes. The students were then administered an emotional quotient test. Students were shown 40 images of eyes and asked what emotion each one displayed. The results of the test support the idea that contagious yawning is linked to empathy. The psychology students, whose future profession requires them to focus on others, yawned contagiously an average of 5.5 times in the waiting room and scored 28 out of 40 on the emotional test. The engineering students, who tend to focus on things like numbers and systems, yawned an average of 1.5 times and scored 25.5 out of 40 on the subsequent test. The difference doesn't sound like much, but researchers consider it significant. Strangely enough, women, who are generally considered more emotionally attuned, didn't score any higher than men.
Paragraph D is about researchers studied 40 psychology students and 40 engineering students. The psychology students yawned contagiously an average of 5.5 times in a waiting room and scored 28 out of 40 on an emotional test. 研究人员研究了40名心理学学生和40名工科学生。心理学学生在候诊室平均打哈欠 5.5 次，在情绪测试中得分28分，满分40分。
Paragraph E. Another study, led by Atsushi Senju, a cognitive researcher at the University of London, also sought to answer that question. People with autism disorder are considered to be developmentally impaired emotionally. Autistics have trouble connecting with others and find it difficult to feel empathy. Since autistics have difficulty feeling empathy, then they shouldn't be susceptible to contagious yawning. To find out, Senju and his colleagues placed 49 kids aged 7 to 15 in a room with a television. 24 of the test subjects had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, the other 25 were non-autistic kids. The test subjects were shown short clips of people yawning as well as clips of people opening their mouths but not yawning. While the kids with autism had the same lack of reaction to both kinds of clips, the non-autistic kids yawned more after the clips of people yawning.
People with autism spectrum disorder may not be susceptible to contagious yawning. Autistics have trouble connecting with others and find it difficult to feel empathy. New study has shown that non-autistic kids yawned more when shown video clips of yawning than kids with autism. 患有自闭症谱系障碍的人可能不易受到传染性打哈欠的影响。自闭症患者难以与他人建立联系，并且很难感受到同理心。一项新的研究表明， 与自闭症儿童相比，非自闭症儿童在播放打哈欠视频时打哈欠的次数更多。
Paragraph F. There also have been studies that suggest yawning, especially psychological, contagious yawning, may have developed as a way of keeping a group of animals alert and bonding members of a group into a more unit one. If an animal is drowsy or bored, it may not be as alert as it should to be prepared to spring into action, and is yawning is practically saying, "Hey, I need some rest, you stay awake." Therefore, a contagious yawn could be an instinctual reaction to a signal from one member of the herd reminding the others to stay alert when danger comes. So the theory suggests evidence that yawning comes from the evolution of early humans to be ready to physically exert themselves at any given moment.
The theory suggests that yawning comes from the evolution of early humans to be ready to physically exert themselves at any given moment. Yawning could be an instinctual reaction to a signal from one member of a herd reminding the others to stay alert when danger comes. 一种理论认为，打哈欠来自早期人类的进化，以准备在任何特定时刻进行体力活动。打哈欠可能是对牛群中一个成员发出的信号的本能反应，提醒其他成员在危险来临时保持警惕。We come once a day to. Next time, practice together. 我们一天来一篇，下次再一起练习。
English by listening and recapture your baby instincts. Re-energize you with multiple, short texts and different voices. It's actually surprisingly easy. Thank you for watching.
别忘了点赞支持，我们下次见。